Hey everyone. Today I'd like to talk you through a simple but powerful method for turning lecture audio into a clean, useful lecture outline. Whether you're a student looking for a better way to study, a professor who wants material ready for Canvas, or someone building quizzes for self-practice, this method will save you time and help you be more present in your lectures. Let's dive in and let me know how it works for you. So the first step in doing this is recording good audio. There are a few ways you can do this, but the way that I like to do it is to use the Rode Wireless Go 2 microphone set. So every time I go into a classroom to record and give a lecture, I clip one of these on and I'm off to the races. So it's just one button to go. You can set these so this is all you need, where you just go in and click the button and it records to the device that you can copy off of it later. Or it has a receiver pack. Here we go right down here. And you can plug this into your phone. You can plug this into a laptop, whatever you would like to do that records off of a line, and you can record it directly onto a hard drive. If you do use this, once you're done, you can just take it back to your office or to your home or wherever you are that you're going to be doing some processing with, wherever you have your laptop or your computer, and you can just copy it right off of this directly onto your hard drive, and you can go from there. So step one, get good audio. Maybe your professor does this. Maybe it's up to you in the classroom to do so. Before we go any further, though, I should say that if you are going to record the lectures in your classroom, make sure you have your instructor's consent to do that first. If you ask, they'll probably say yes. Don't assume that, though. Please ask before you record your professors. As a professor who has had people not ask when they're recording stuff and discovering it later on, I really appreciate that. And in some states, you might actually run into some legal stuff with it. So always ask first before you record your professors. So the next thing that you want to do once you have a good audio recording is convert that recording into a file transcript of the actual words that were said. And if you are like me and you're already affiliated with a college or a university, you can probably already do that using tools you already have. There are several out on the market that you can use. I personally have used Descript in the past, and it worked pretty well for a small fee. But if you want to do this using the tools you already got, you can also probably do this in Canvas. I know that I can do it in Canvas, and I want to show you how. So let me flip over to my laptop screen, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So if you have access to Canvas, like I do, you have part of that down here that says Canvas Studio. So if you click on the Canvas Studio, that's where you can put a lot of your audio files and your video files that you might record for whatever reason you might be doing it. So I've already uploaded the file of my lecture on multicellularity that I recorded using my Rode Wireless Go 2. And here it is. Here it is. Now, when I upload that file into Canvas, it will automatically start transcribing that for closed captioning. When it's done doing that, you'll see the little black circle with the CC up here in the top. If I go ahead and click on that, it'll take me to the file. Canvas has known issues with the thumbnail images actually showing up, so Canvas, get on that. But you'll see the little three dots up here. If I click on the little three dots, I can go down to where it says download transcript. When I click on that, it will do so. It will do so. Let me go ahead and open this file for you. There we go. There it is. Great. Double click on it, and here you go. This is now the transcript of my audio file on my lecture on multicellularity. Now, the next thing that I need to do with that file, now that I have that, is make an outline from it. All right, so how do you make this outline? Now that I actually have the transcript of the lecture itself, I'm going to go ahead and open up my trusty ChatGPT. So, hey, Paul, are you ready to dive in? I sure am. All I'm going to do here is go to that file. I'm just going to drop it straight over into ChatGPT. And on the prompt down here, I'm going to say, convert this transcript into a lecture notes. Give it a second and it's done. Here are my lecture notes on the topic of multicellularity. ChatGPT is giving me some learning objectives, key concepts, unicellular versus multicellular life, blah blah blah, a variety of different topics that I talked about. In the lecture itself, biological requirements for multicellularity, defining it, how it's such a fuzzy concept anyway, and what I really like about that is at the bottom of it, it gives me discussion questions. So it actually gives some questions that I can use if I'm a student doing this to do a little self-study and to practice for any exam or the next lecture, or just to make sure that I actually know what I'm talking about before I go into it. So this is how I do this. Now I have this ChatGPT output, which is actually the lecture notes, not about what I want to talk about or not a summary of multicellularity. It actually is the lecture notes that you would generate from the lecture itself, right? So this is what we talked about in class. This is the things we focused on. These are the topics we covered. And just based on this lecture that we have, these are the questions that you should be able to answer that you can use to practice with, which is what you want if you're going to be taking notes in class. Doing this was really important to me for a couple of reasons, learning how to do these lecture notes. As a good teacher, I want to be responsive to the needs of my students. And it's not uncommon for my students to ask me if I have any of the lecture notes. It's a reasonable thing that a student would ask someone for. Hey, professor, do you have the lecture notes that you used during this lecture? A lot of times the answer is no. If I'm doing a lecture over something that I've done 100 times before, I'm probably not using lecture notes to do that. I'm probably just going in the classroom and launching right in. I hate to break up my flow by having to consult pages of notes all the time. If a student misses class for whatever reason that might be, it's reasonable for them to ask for lecture notes just so they have a sense of what we talked about and what they might have missed. Also, when I was an undergraduate, me personally, I was not what you would call a good note taker. I never really felt like I knew what I should be writing down. Is this important? Is this not important? The more I focused on trying to write good notes, the less I was actually able to pay attention to the class and what was actually happening in there. So I didn't find that particularly helpful advice. Take good notes because it felt like it pulled me out of the moment of the lecture itself. It pulled me out of the experience of being able to engage in the lecture by always making sure that I was writing down the right thing. So this changes things, right? This lets me fully engage if I was a student in the lecture and pay attention without having to worry about whether or not this was kind of an important thing. Because between the transcript of the audio and ChatGPT, I can get a good output of what those lecture notes really sort of were. And I can then use those lecture notes as a guideline for making sure that I have all the topics covered and I'm familiar with them all before I go on to the next stuff. All right, well, there you have it. Thanks, everybody. Let me know how this works for you. Give it a try and let me know what you think. Hopefully, it helps you the way that it helped me. And I'd love to hear about your experiences with it if you have any. So let me know what else you want to hear about. If there's any way that you're bringing technology into the classroom, I'd love to have a chat about it. So take care, everybody. Have a lovely day. I'll see you soon.